Right, so we're going to make some pita bread, or you can make them into flatbread if you don't want to do the pita bread. So first we're going to dissolve in 1 cup of boiling water, well not boiling, so quite hot but not boiling, 3 teaspoons of active yeast or the instant yeast. You're going to dissolve that in. I put about half a teaspoon of sugar in just to make that dissolve it. Then it's going to stay nice and warm, and once the yeast is activated, you're going to mix it with 2.5 to 3 cups of flour. I used 1 cup of oat bran in there, so I made it, just sort of split it half and half, just to make it a wee bit more coarser. And I used some put a salt and a tablespoon of olive oil in there. So once I've got that all mixed in the water, and the yeast needs to sit for a wee while before you can then mix it in with your flour. So I just put a dough hook on the mixer and got it mixed until it was all brought together. I just kept adding a little bit of water to bring it all together, and it left the side of the bowl. Alright, that just takes probably a bit less than 1/4 cup of water. I mixed that a wee bit to bring it round, and you can just knead it with your hands and knead it for about 5 to 7 minutes, just till it's nice and smooth and got a bit of elasticity to it. Right, and add a little bit more flour if you need it. I let it rise in a bowl by the fire till it doubled in size, and then pulled it out on the bench where I cut it into about 8 or 9 pieces, ready for cooking. Alright, so the first one I rolled out and got quite thin, so it was a wee bit thinner than probably I needed, and I had my pan with a little bit of oil in the bottom. Any excess oil I tipped off, but I just needed a wee bit of oil. So I rolled it out and then popped it into my pan. My pan was smoking hot, so it was really warm, alright, because you've got to get that instant seal. And I placed my pita bread in it and let it cook probably about 2 minutes, 1.5 to 2 minutes on each side. It'll get nice and brown on one side, but you'll notice the bubbles popping up on top of the pita bread before you need to turn it over. Alright, you'll see some lovely wee bubbles pop up there, and then that's when you can see it puffing up and it turns over. And then you do the same on the other side, where it goes about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Alright, and then just tip it out onto your plate. For the next one, I didn't roll out so thin. The next one, I just used a wee bit of flour on the bench, not very much, and I just pressed it out with my fingertips just to make it a wee bit fatter, and that made more of a pita bread than a flatbread. Right, again, had a little bit of oil in there, right, and then just popped it in to cook on each side. Notice the bubbles popping up. So with those bubbles, that pretty much means it's ready to turn over. When I had these, once I'd finished, I had them with just some butter on them and a bit of bacon, or you can just have them with cheese. You can use them to dip in for a casserole in the evening. Really versatile. Enjoy.